another episode of the Verde Valley Experience. I'm your host, Jennifer Cohen. As you can see, we are still doing the Live from the Office series, keeping everyone at a safe distance so we can all be well. We are still bringing you what's happening in the Verde, what's happening with our favorite organizations, our favorite musicians. We're so fortunate to be able to do this via video format, and thank you all so much for joining us. Our first guest today is from the Sedona Heritage Museum. We'll be speaking with Janeen Trevillyan, and she's going to talk about how the museum is collecting COVID-19 personal stories. So if you have a personal story about how you've dealt with the past few months with the social isolation, with the stay-at-home orders, perhaps you're a business owner or a teacher or a kid or anyone who has possibly had an impact. I mean, it's had an impact on all of us. So if you would like to share your story, the Sedona Heritage Museum is looking for it. So make sure you stick around, make sure you hear what Janeen has to say. Then we'll talk with Erin Mabery. She's the executive director of the Verde Valley Big Brothers, the Yavapai Big Brothers and Big Sisters program. Big Brothers and Big Sisters, as you can imagine, had to change a few things with their big matches and all their events that got canceled, but they are moving forward, moving on, keeping it going, keeping all those matches connected in the best way that they can. We're going to hear from Erin about all they've been doing, and then a little bit about what you can do to help the Yavapai Big Brothers, Big Sisters. Then we'll be joined by Tania Simms, the executive director of the Verde Valley Habitat for Humanity, about how they've been doing with all this craziness and the 6 feet distance and the stay-at-homes. And they're just completing their homes that they've built, 3 beautiful homes in Sedona, and they've done a wonderful job with that. They've just renovated the ReStore. It's the most amazing place ever, and it's so clean and bright. And Tanya's going to tell us all about the great stuff happening there. And then we'll be joined by one of my favorite musicians, Hank Erwin. I'm so excited we were able to catch him. He's locked up in a tiny little apartment in Austin, Texas. But thanks to this format, see, there are some good things. We can snag him so that we don't have to wait until he comes back to the Verde as his tour continues, once it does start to continue. He's wonderful. He's going to have some great original tunes for us. So good show. We're doing the best we can with what we have to work with. And so here it is. Thank you so much for joining us.
Orkin has pest control down to a science.
When your business chooses Orkin's Precision Protection Program, you get a tailored pest control program for your specific industry and environment.
Your business can benefit from over a century of experience, training, and scientific knowledge that define the Orkin man.
Maximum protection, minimum exposure, backed by one of the industry's most comprehensive guarantees.
Choose your locally owned and operated Northern Arizona Orkin and get more than an exterminator. Get an expert.
Our first guest today is Janeen Trevillyan. She is the board president for the Sedona Heritage Museum. Thank you for joining us, Janeen.
Thank you.
And I love that you're in the museum. I love those shelves. I love seeing all those things inside. One of my favorite museums. I say this every time, but it truly is one of my favorite museums in Sedona. It's so well done. It's so interesting. There's so much packed into that little place.
Yes.
But now things have shifted a little bit. Museum's been closed for a little while due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And you're kind of rolling with it. You're creating something new. Tell us about what the museum, how it's attacking the times, basically.
Well, basically, what we looked at was, one of the first things we did was, what can history teach us about this situation? So we look back every once in a while, and that's what we did. And we started looking in our archives about what information we had about the 1918 flu epidemic, and we found a couple of interesting photos, and I've shared at least one of them with Ryan. And as we looked at that, and then also some of us have been to other museums where there have been catastrophes, something extreme like Mount St. Helens or a dam burst or something someplace, and it really changed that community. And it's a big point in their history. And so we were talking about all these things, and we said, you know what, we should capture for our community, for the Verde Valley, what has it been like during the COVID-19 epidemic here, and what were people thinking? What were their experiences like? Because someday someone's going to want to look back and say, well, what did they do in 50 or 100 years ago from these people someplace in our future? And they'll be looking back and they'll saying, could we learn from them? Or how did people feel? Hey, we're feeling the same way or different. So we have a relationship. You know, we're still human, and there's this connection we can make by being able to know more. So we want to take a moment to capture people's images if they have them to share, but for sure people's stories and memories from this time. How are they feeling? So that can get shared in the future.
Certainly, and we're talking personal stories. We're not talking scientific facts. We don't want you,
Right.
citing things that are in the paper. Just what is happening with you, with your family? What have you experienced over the past number of weeks? That's fascinating.
It is. And like you said, the facts are going to be out there on Wikipedia or whatever that is 50 years from now. But yes, what did you do with your time? Did you adopt an extra pet because you knew that was a need? Did you celebrate learning new technology because it was the only way you could make connections? What was it like to work from home when you'd always worked in a traditional office? What adjustments did you have to make? And there's a lot of funny stories. There's a lot of uplifting stories. And there's some mourning, for just plain change. Human beings aren't necessarily known for our ability to embrace change. So there's some stories like that. But we want people to have this place where they can go. It's not opinion, it's not politics, it's not that kind of a situation. It's here's what's happening to me, maybe here's how I felt.
Mm-hmm. And how's that been going? Have you had a lot of people bringing information or sending information?
We're consistent. We've got room for a lot more people to come up. But what's so interesting is the variety of stories that we are hearing, all the way from somebody who's celebrating their boss because during the hard times, the boss took an extra moment to empty the office pantry and supplies and things that were on hand to make it easier for their employees, that kind of sharing. We've even had Chandra Jefferson, a local entertainer here in the Verde Valley. She wrote an original song about the blues. So there's some entertainment on there where she took her story about that and has shared it out. We've got people, one group who shared some photos and the story of how some people who knew how to sew got together and took on one-on-one some young girls and taught them how to sew. And now those girls have made 1,500 masks for first responders and medical personnel.
Wow.
So that's the kind of inspiring to entertaining to thankfulness or gratefulness. We're getting a real mix of stories.
Good. Now, if we want to catch these, read these, see these, are they going to be available on your website?
They are available now. So if you go to sedonamuseum.org, right on the home page, there is a little COVID-19 symbol or photograph. You click there to the page where these stories and those images are posted by people as they come in. It usually takes 24 or 48 hours to get all the parameters and everything, but then your story will be out there. Our intent for the long term is to keep all these stories, collect them, and then at some point we're going to turn them either into a digital file. One day, let's say maybe 10 years from now, we might all want to look back, have our perspective, and we'll be able to turn this into an exhibit or something we could do in the museum at some point in time. And we are collecting a few things, like we're collecting a mask that somebody wore for a certain period of time during this, some signage and some jokes. Lots of funny COVID jokes out there right now. So we're collecting some of these things so that we could indeed do an exhibit that would give somebody in the future a little bit of a sense of what was going on in our little Verde Valley during this period of time.
Well, certainly, and it's a major worldwide event. It's not just about the Verde Valley, but we're definitely part of it, just like everybody else, and we can make our mark in history. I love that you're collecting that. When we think back to the Spanish flu outbreak and how big that was and what that did, but most of us don't know too many people or have any relatives that were around in that time, so we don't have that information. But this is big news. Anytime a pandemic comes through, it's going to be big news. But to have those personal stories and those jokes and those pictures and what changed in your family, it's so interesting to hear what people's take are, and the few people we speak to. I mean, here we go, Zoom.
There you go.
So, this is cool because we can connect with a lot more of our fellow neighbors and fellow Arizona residents this way. So thank you. I can see this as being a great thing for everyone who's still staying at home, to be able to see, okay, how are you dealing with this and how'd you do that? And it's an instant creation of friends and family by having all these personal stories. And who doesn't love to share a personal story every now and then? You know, that's a great idea.
And that's just it too. You know, let's say even just 10 years from now, hopefully a bunch of us are still going to be around and we're going to have this memory. Some of those memories are going to start to leave. Some of those feelings will start to leave. But in 10 years from now, those of us, we're going to have here, for example, and see these jokes and see the masks and see those things and read these stories and be able to relate and kind of have that little walk down memory lane, but also to have that opportunity to look back on this with perspective from time. So capturing these now so that these thoughts and learning experiences or whatever else they might be are not lost is part of our goal.
Excellent. Well, that's great. And I know that even though the museum's been closed, your volunteers are still there. They're still working. You've worked it out so that there's not too many folks there at a time, but that the museum can keep going. You keep adding things and working on displays. And so it's wonderful to know it's not collecting dust. There are still folks in there doing things like that. Do you have any idea when the museum might open?
We are hopeful that if everything does indeed stay on the trajectory that it's on, that sometime in June, you know, maybe 3, 4, 5 weeks, but sometime in June, we would be able to put the measures in place here that we want our docents feel comfortable, because they're all volunteers and we want them to feel comfortable and safe when they come back. And we want to provide enough of some physical changes and signage changes such that our guests will feel comfortable moving through the museum too. You know, some of the good things that we have to work with is the museum is laid out such it can have an easy one-way flow. But, you know, the one thing that's a little harder to deal with is you have some people who like to spend an hour in a museum and some people who like to spend 15 minutes. So how do we help them be in the same space at the same time? So we've got a few things to do. But again, as I said, if everything hangs in there in the rest of the world, we will hopefully be catching up with everybody sometime in June.
Great. Well, that's great to know. I look forward to visiting the museum. And I'm going to check out, go to sedonamuseum.org. We're going to see all those great COVID-19 stories that folks are sharing. You want to add your own? Go for it. Add your own. The more stories, the merrier. Well, thank you, Janeen. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank
really
you.
Appreciate you. Yeah.
And we do encourage people, sedonamuseum.org, right on the homepage, there's a click. And there is a submission form. It's very easy. They only have to put in about 2 or 3 pieces of information in their story and a photo if they want to. And then we will get it up and running so that they will be posted in part of that story, that on the diary.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. SedonaMuseum.org. Make sure you go there and check it out. You know what? Right after the show, that's where I'm going. We'll be right back with more of the Verde Valley Experience, so don't go away.
Orkin has pest control down to a science.
When your business chooses Orkin's Precision Protection Program, you get a tailored pest control program for your specific industry and environment.
Your business can benefit from over a century of experience, training, and scientific knowledge that define the Orkin man.
Maximum protection, minimum exposure, backed by one of the industry's most comprehensive guarantees.
Choose your locally owned and operated Northern Arizona Orkin and get more than an exterminator. Get an expert.
And welcome back to the Verde Valley Experience. We now have the pleasure of being joined by Erin Mabery. She's the Executive Director for Yavapai, Big Brothers, Big Sisters. You want to talk about an organization that's going to take a hit when there's a pandemic, Big Brothers, Big Sisters. How have you guys been doing, Erin?
You know, I am just so proud of our staff, our bigs and our littles, our families. It's been a tough time, but we are doing great, I have to say. You know, we were just ramping up for our Bowl for Kids' Sake campaign, which is one of our biggest fundraisers of the year. And yeah, and then we got stay-at-home orders 2 days into it. So we had actually started collecting and got everybody all excited and ready for their bowling dates. And we've been postponed twice. Now we're looking at the end of August. If anybody has had any, donations or has been out helping us raise funds, they'll need to probably call our offices and find out when they can bowl. So yeah, we're keeping a close eye on all of those things as things change.
Of course. Of
Yeah.
course. And another thing that kind of went a little down the drain was the tax credits. When taxes got weird and people didn't have to file till like June or July, things have gotten a little funky with that. And I know you guys depend on the funds from that as well.
Yeah, we actually, 33% of our funds are from our events, which we've had to cancel several of those. And then campaigns like tax credits is another 55% of our income. So yeah, and our corporate sponsorships, of course, a lot of the businesses that we rely on for their sponsorships have been hit hard. So we're going to try for a couple of events at the end of the year, our September events. All of our June events were canceled, our golf in Sedona and our jazz festival. And we're still on the fence with our picnic. Gathering a bunch of people together is probably not a good idea. So, we're just trying to keep the health and safety of our kids and our staff and our bigs. Yeah. Right. Over half of our bigs are over the age of 55. So we have to really keep that in mind as we go forward.
Yeah, that's true. Well, thank you for being so considerate of everyone. Now let's get on with the good news. You have been rocking and rolling still, not missing a beat.
We have not missed a beat, and my staff they have just been amazing. So I'm so proud of all the work that they've done. They really had to take our mission and pivot, because our mission is so based on personal, physical, in-person matching and meeting, and that's what our agency has been based on. So we really had to take a look at what virtual looked like and do things virtually. So I'm really proud of our staff, because we have really reached out. We've been able to contact all of the kids that we're serving, all the bigs that are helping us serve those children. And we have made a really huge impact with just reaching out virtually, either by phone or text. And then our bigs have really stepped up, and we have had some amazing stories that have come in about how our bigs have adjusted. Again, a lot of them are over the age of 55, and they were going, what? I have to text, I have to, FaceTime or Zoom or whatever. And we've guided them through those things and really had it's just been amazing to see what they have come up with. We've had a couple of bigs that would go check on their little and drop off a package at their door, for safe distancing and everything. And then they would do the activity that they dropped off at their door together over Zoom, and then keep in touch with that way. So that has been really cool. We came up with a board game drive, which has been amazingly, just an amazing little project that just grew up one night. And we started asking people, hey, if you're home and you're cleaning out closets and everybody's, doing those things, then bring us your board games that you don't use anymore. And we were able to identify, we actually had hundreds of games donated. And so we've been passing those out, of course, with safe distancing. We get them and we sanitize them and sort them and everything, make sure everything's in them, and then get them out to our littles. And we've actually partnered with other agencies to do that with their kids. And it's been pretty cool. So I'm just really proud of how our staff and our board and everybody has really stepped up and gone the extra mile during this time. Everybody's been working from home and working virtually, and there's little challenges in that, but they've been great at overcoming those things and really staying focused on serving our youth. So
yes,
I'm proud.
That's great. You also did a drive to collect computers for some littles?
Well, during that time, so while we were calling all of our littles and all of our families, and we were hearing a lot of kids were saying, you know, I don't even have a computer, I can't do my schoolwork. And so we found resources, and we were able to get some computers out to kids so that they could finish at least their schoolwork. You know, and then it also helps with them being able to connect with their big, you know. Right. And so it's been a very sweet time of finding innovative and fun ways to connect with people and being together and staying together. So yeah, it's been really, it's a challenge, not to make light of it all, but it's really cool.
Yeah, that is true. And you've definitely risen to the challenge. I loved the resource guide that Big Brother Spaces just put together so that basic needs could be met. Because when something is happening, when the sky is falling, it's hard to think. It's hard to go, well, wait, I need this, and where am I going to get that? And because everything starts to kind of fall apart. But with this guide that you put together, connects everyone, and then of course ideas and activities and things like that, and the virtual Disneyland ride and the virtual trips to aquariums. I mean, that's some good thinking there.
Yeah, it was actually really fun. I would go I don't have a little myself, but it was really fun to go and explore all of those things, you know, whether you had a child with you or not. But I love Disneyland, so that was a lot of fun. And then being able to see museums and all kinds of wonderful things. You know, people really got innovative, and they started putting things online. And we had a great team. Robin, who has been amazing through this whole thing, she worked really hard to make sure that we had all of those resources and links and made sure that they worked and that everybody was able to use it. So we actually reached out to other agencies. I saw you had Manzanita on, was it last week? We were posting, you know, where they were at and the things that people could really utilize, you know, whether it was food or shelter or, you know, I'm close with Matt Force, so was able to use a lot of their resources and get with the schools even and find out what they were up to and be able to post that in there so that our families and our bigs and our littles could go on there and find things. We also did in Spanish, so you know that was like an overnight miracle to get that done, because I can understand a little bit of Spanish, but not a lot. So I wouldn't have been able to do that. But our team really pulled together and did a great job.
That's great. And in the meantime, you've been supporting all your matches, the matches that have already been made. You said there's 277 active matches that have been supported. And then you just did your first virtual match. That's really cool.
We did our first virtual match. I think we have a picture of it. And it went great. So, you know, it sounds like it would just be easy to just do those things, but we really had to take a moment and make sure that everything was safe. And, you know, there's concerns with technology and kids and all of those things. So it was quite a process. We really had to pull in our national supporters and look around the whole nation of how people were doing this and implement things that, you know, to make sure that everybody involved is safe. But the virtual match was really fun. It was really fun. I think that this match in particular, they are so much alike, this big and this little. They're 60 years apart in age, but they are so much alike. It's really cool. So.
That's so great. And I know that it's not an easy thing to have a match, to create a match. And I know that there's a big lack of bigs out there.
We need bigs, you know, on the back end of this, you know, we have kids that are at home and they're really turning to technology, which is sometimes good and also can be very dangerous. So we are really looking for more adults to step up and come and volunteer as bigs. We need it now more than ever. Kids will be needing mentoring and some healthy support as they, you know, go through this. These kids these days, makes me feel old. But these kids these days, you know, they are experiencing history like nothing we've ever seen before, of course. So what comes on the back end of this will be very interesting to see. But I really hope that we are able to support these children as they come out of their homes, they get back into school. They've had a huge disruption in their routines and their lives, maybe in their home life, probably in their home lives, you know. So we're really there. We've worked really hard over this time, these last few weeks, these last few months, to be prepared and be ready for whatever comes our way. And we hope we're prepared for everything. So, but yeah, we've done an amazing job. Not just me, our whole team.
Definitely.
It takes a heavy lift from the whole county. So really proud of it, what we've done.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Erin. It's wonderful to see you, check in, hear how Yavapai Big Brothers Big Sisters is doing. So thank you. Erin Mabery, the Executive Director for Yavapai Big Brothers Big Sisters. Don't go away. We've got more of the Verde Valley Experience coming back at you.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you, Erin. It's wonderful to see you.
Been hearing about the crazy benefits of CBD? Find out how CBD can help you at Sedona's #1 resource, CBD Sedona. Come in for a free consultation and let our trained medical staff help you find the perfect product for you. Pain relieving salves, full spectrum oils, honeys, teas, cookies, and even CBD for pets. Ready to feel fantastic? Come on by CBD Sedona today.
With too many senior homeowners falling short in their retirement dreams, there may be great news for you. A reverse mortgage may be the answer. The flexibility it provides may help you with your retirement dreams, peace of mind, and quality of life in your retirement. For your in-home, no-obligation consultation, contact me at 928-225-7418. That's 928-225-7418. Or you can find me at Facebook at Jim Hostler, Reverse Mortgage Specialist.
Award-winning Soundbites Grill is an entertainment restaurant located in Uptown Sedona at the Hyatt Pinion Point Resort. Open for lunch and dinner, featuring fresh fish, all-natural hand-cut beef, even a full vegan menu. Family-friendly, open 11:30 to 9, late dining on Friday and Saturday. Soundbites Grill has some of the best views of the Sedona Red Rocks. Offers world-class entertainment, food, fun, and music.
Welcome back to the Verde Valley Experience. We're now here with Tania Simms. She's the Executive Director for the Verde Valley Habitat for Humanity. Thank you so much for joining us, Tania. Lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you. It's always my pleasure.
Yes, I love it. We're doing continuing on with the Live from the Office series. We are now in my office, and here you go. Bloop, here's Tania's office. I can see you're a busy woman with lots going on.
Always.
Yes. Now, how has Habitat been faring with the COVID-19 pandemic, with the social distancing? I know that you've been finishing a home in Sedona, your first triplex, I believe, which is a monumental occasion.
Yeah. You know, we have been really blessed. Every business that I know of has had some challenging times. And I have to say that we've done a really good job over the prior few years to prepare for a situation where we didn't have all of our normal revenue coming in. So I feel blessed that we've been able to continue doing parts of our work. So we did close our ReStore for I think 5 or 6 weeks, and we were able to keep employees working. And as we were talking before we started this interview, we've totally finished remodeling the ReStore buildings we have inside and outside, and our employees were able to finish painting and cleaning and preparing floors and doing some fun stuff. So our ReStore looks absolutely amazing, totally different than it was just 6 years ago when I started here. And we did continue construction, and you had mentioned also in our previous conversation that we kept volunteers going. Well, we did actually stop volunteer activity for safety concerns, but we were able to finish doing construction at the homes and Peach Lane. And so great news. We are hoping to close on a couple of those next week, maybe close by to that date because of appraisal, property appraisals. But we're just fortunate that we have been able to place ourselves in a position where we could continue to work through our mission and house those families that we help. So Yeah, so it's been really great. We are planning to do a virtual dedication next Saturday. So once that's scheduled and we have the final details, it's a little short notice, but that's the way it happens sometimes. We'll let you know, because then you can maybe join in on Facebook Live.
Mm-hmm. That's great. That's great. Yeah,
Yeah.
you do a great job keeping up on the Facebook page, which is great. And of course, there's vvhabitat.org if you want to go online and check it out. And I love that the ReStore is now open. It's open from Monday through Friday from 9 to 5. I was hurting when the ReStore wasn't open. I was hurting. That's one of my favorite places to go. I go almost every week. So, you know, they know me in there.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, we have a lot of regulars and dedicated customers like you, Jen. So we appreciate you very much.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you very much for reopening. And now tell us about this amazing remodel, totally renovated, redone, rebooted ReStore. It's very, very different. How did you get the idea to make all that happen?
You know, I would say that my personal vision, and I believe our board of directors shares the same vision, is that we want to be a nice thrift store. So we oftentimes thrift stores get the bad rep that you go in and it's hard to find things and you have to, you know, shuffle through things. But we really want to be a store that customers can come in, they can find what they're looking for, and you know, we can help get them through their shopping experience in a very positive way. And that's been our desire and what we've been moving towards for a couple of years. So we have been fortunate that we were able to obtain the financing and the funds to be able to remodel. And our building was built in 1965 and it wasn't always lovingly cared for. Our ceiling was falling in different places and we absolutely had to do some repair work. So it was just the right time to start doing all of the renovations that needed to be done. And we're just trying to love this wonderful old building that's been in Cottonwood for so long back to, you know, great shape that we can be proud of and that our community can be proud of.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's beautiful. It's all freshly painted. It's
Yeah.
lovely and clean. It's so organized. You think you're at a hardware store or you know, a real furniture store or something like that. And it by no means feels like a thrift store at all. And I know what you mean. Thrift stores are usually dark and crowded and dusty and a little funky, but there's no funk anymore. Habitat ReStore. I was in the other day. I bought an antique footstool and some spray lube for my car. I love it. It did like all kinds of things, the housewares and the things like that. And of course, it's all supporting Habitat for Humanity and your mission for getting people into homes, which is beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is beautiful.
Yeah. And how has it been? I mean, you say that, you know, everyone we know has taken a financial hit during these times. How is Habitat doing and looking towards the future? What do you need to bring in?
Well, we did have a financial hit, even though we were able to plan ahead and be able to, you know, continue most of our operations. But just like other businesses, you know, when you're working on your reserves, then you're putting yourself in jeopardy for the future or the next hard times that you come into, right? So we have to make sure that we can stay in a financial position where we can be sustainable for the long term. We've been in this community for 25 years. We want to be here for another 25, 50, 75 and be able to, you know, continue to house families and support and provide healthy and safe environments for people. So that's number one, as our priority is to make sure that we are in good financial health at all times so that we can stay here and stay a part of the community and support the community for indefinitely. So that's a primary goal. And that's one reason why we have the ReStore. And when we can improve the ReStore, then that also improves our revenue because people want to come in and shop. The ReStore is definitely a significant source of revenue for us. And you know, we have to continue to improve, and that's part of us continuing to improve. And then on the other hand, people who, you know, we have so supportive contributors, financial contributors. And if you want to contribute in construction, that's where you can contribute, is make a donation. Those funds 100% go towards construction of homes and our critical home repair. So I think I got off, you know, your answer a little bit, but for us, it's really my desire is to have an organization that is sustainable for a very, 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 very long time.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Well, it's definitely in good hands. I can tell you that. How has your critical home repair program, was it able to keep going, or did you have to stop that for a while?
We did have to stop it for a while because critical home repair is primarily volunteer run. We do have a construction manager that helps evaluate the projects and things like that, but it's volunteers who actually do the work. And since we suspended volunteer activity for a while for health and safety reasons, we are now looking at how we can get it reinvigorated and get it started back up. And we're also looking at health and safety of those homeowner applicants. Most of our critical home repair applicants are seniors and veterans with health conditions, and we didn't want to put them at risk by having people, on their site. There's always paperwork that has to be done. So until we could find a way to bring that program back and have everybody be safe and follow proper protocol, then we suspended it. So right now we're looking at how we're going to get it reinvigorated, and that will probably be very soon, probably in the next month or so.
Okay, great. And are you accepting donations at the ReStore? If we had something we wanted to bring in, how's that going?
Yes, definitely. We are accepting donations at the ReStore, where our truck is going out and picking up donations. Our driver and our assistant driver are doing what they need to do, which is wearing masks and wearing gloves when they're handling items and keeping their physical distance. Some of the same protocol that we have in the store, sanitizing, those kind of things. Yeah, if you want to make a contribution to the ReStore, it seems like we're always in need of furniture because our furniture gallery brings things in, and we have, like I said, we have great supporters. We get some great items, but they sell quickly. So it's like, if it comes in and it's something really great, you better be here in a day or two or it's going to be gone. We had some great stuff in our showroom just 2 days ago, and it's almost empty now. So it almost looks like we aren't getting contributions, but it's really not us getting contributions. It's just that we provide really great service on top of that, but it just seems like everybody knows where to go to find, well, they know when to come in when we have great stuff, which is always anymore. So it just seems like our furniture gallery is empty quite a lot, but that's because we fill it up and it goes away so fast.
Well,
so that's been a challenge, but we have many, many, many other things that are all things construction. Like you said, you bought some car lube stuff. You never know what you're going to find here. The only thing you're not going to find here is clothing.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Yes, I've never left empty-handed, ever.
Yeah, it's difficult. And we're offering online sales now too.
All right.
Yeah, you
so
go to our website.
Online to vvhabitat.org.
Yes.
You can find that. Oh, great.
Yes. So we don't have everything online. We don't have cabinets and doors, but most of the small stuff and furniture that's in our main building here is online.
Oh,
and we keep adding stuff every day.
Great, great, great. Well, thank you for that service. We certainly appreciate that. I know a lot of folks who like to shop like I do, and they're having a very hard time. So that's good. We can online shop at vvhabitat.org. I love it. I love it. That's great. Tania, thank you so much for continuing your awesome work here in the Verde Valley with Habitat, for keeping it rolling despite the setbacks, for making such a difference in our community. I really appreciate you, and thank you so much for the work you're doing.
You're welcome. Well, we appreciate being here, and it's my pleasure to serve our community.
Super, super. Well, don't go away, because we've got a little bit more Verde Valley Experience coming back at you.
Been hearing about the crazy benefits of CBD? Find out how CBD can help you at Sedona's #1 resource, CBD Sedona. Come in for a free consultation and let our trained medical staff help you find the perfect product for you. Pain relieving salves, full spectrum oils, honeys, teas, cookies, and even CBD for pets. Ready to feel fantastic? Come on by CBD Sedona today.
With too many senior homeowners falling short in their retirement dreams, there may be great news for you. A reverse mortgage may be the answer. The flexibility it provides may help you with your retirement dreams, peace of mind, and quality of life in your retirement. For your in-home, no-obligation consultation, contact me at 928-225-7418. That's 928-225-7418. Or you can find me at Facebook at Jim Hostler, Reverse Mortgage Specialist.
Award-winning Soundbites Grill is an entertainment restaurant located in Uptown Sedona at the Hyatt Pinion Point Resort. Open for lunch and dinner, featuring fresh fish, all-natural hand-cut beef, even a full vegan menu. Family-friendly, open 11:30 to 9, late dining on Friday and Saturday. Soundbites Grill has some of the best views of the Sedona Red Rocks. Offers world-class entertainment, food, fun, and music.
Deadbolt the door and put all the keys in a pile. And turn off your phones, we're gonna be here for a while. I stared at the wall, those big painted pieces of cinder. And I pulled a chair way over there in the corner. We came in on Tuesdays, the car crash survivors, the end over enders, the head-on colliders, the T-bones and the runners, the big jaws of life, the telephone polers, the rollers, the fires, the ragers and recalls, the eyes in the night, asleep at the steering wheel, even the at-fault came by. Well, they were on their way to get tattooed, would have been his 7th. Do we get all the tattoos we wanted when we get to heaven? He died 3 numbers and then had a moment alone to wonder if the sirens were angels calling him home. We came in on Tuesdays, the car crash survivors, the airbag inhalers, tailgaters and icers, the fallen orange barrels, the too close behinders, the whiplashers, whiteouts, and damn motorcycles, and one that was hit by a runaway tire that flew off a big rig who just kept on driving, and somewhere that trucker is still on the lam, hauling whatever a big 17-wheeler can. And what did the Grand Marquis say to the oak tree? You kissed mighty hard for standing so carefree, and who would have thought the wood could break mercury when you were an acorn and I was a chassis? We came in on Tuesday, the circle seemed wider. They all looked at me now, the other survivors. So I took a deep breath and I drew in my elbows. I guess it all started when I climbed in the Bronco. The next thing I knew, it already begun. From the bottom of my heart, at the top of my lungs, my toes curled way under. I screamed at the night. He was asleep at the wheel, I was awake on the passenger side.
right. We're joined. I love it. It's so great to have you back in, I would say, in the studio normally, but since we're doing the Live from the Office series, we're joined by Hank Erwin, which is great. Oh, it's so great to see you, Hank.
Back in the virtual studio.
Yes, yes, yes. We're all no strangers to this anymore, for sure.
Yeah.
I loved that song. I loved that song, Car Crash Survivors. I loved that song. I listened to it 4 times in a row because I love lyrics. I love stories. And the first time I heard it, I thought it was something else. And the second time I heard it, I went, but wait. And the third time I went, I know what this is about. It's just so interesting, so in-depth. Tell us how you wrote that one.
That one started like a lot of my songs do, where I just got some random idea in my head, and it was about car crash survivors, end over enders, head on colliders. Like, it was just some kind of silly rhyme that I thought it was kind of funny to put like the, you know, ERS on the end of you know, collider kind of thing. And then I wasn't sure, you know, it was just one of those ideas I wrote down, and then I started going back through and realizing, you know, all the different things you could put in there. And it's kind of cheating in a way that I love about some songwriting. It's like, well, you just force a rhyme, you know, by putting this, you know, colliders, end over enders, you know, and it becomes almost silly and almost, you know, kind of makes you think at the same time, which is like what I loved about John Prine, since we just lost John Prine also. You know, he had that thing where you didn't know if you wanted to laugh or cry.
Right.
And I love John for that. He was, I think, just the king, just the absolute king, the best ever of not, you know, of not knowing whether you wanted to laugh or cry. So, but I came up with that. And then, you know, I grew up in Kentucky, and a lot of, it was just a thing. It was like a rite of passage. I feel like, as in your late teens, like everybody got in car accidents. That was just like a thing that a lot of people did. I was never in serious ones, luckily. I was in a lot of minor accidents, but never at fault, I will add. But I had a lot of friends who weren't so lucky, and one friend in particular who did live, but he got banged up so bad. And actually, he was the one who owned the Bronco that I referenced in that one. So yeah, that's kind of how that one came together.
Oh, that's great. And you're absolutely right. You don't know whether to laugh or cry. It's touching, but it's funny at the same time. And it kind of, as a human being, makes you feel a little weird. Like,
yeah.
I want to laugh, but but that subject, and ooh, and maybe so it's just a great talent. It's a great talent. So we are speaking to you live from Texas right now.
Yeah.
Which is very, very cool. You're holed up in Austin, Texas at the moment, writing and getting creative, and you look fantastic. So life is treating you well.
But considering, I guess, you know, I mean, I'm alive, and I'm healthy as far as I know.
It's good.
I'm just kind of stuck in this little apartment, and just you know, trying to hang in there, and, you know, somewhat enjoying the break, and trying to get, you know, learn new things. I've been teaching myself Adobe Premiere, you know, video editing, stuff like that. And I put together a new guitar. I've had all these guitar parts sitting around for years that I always wanted to learn how to solder and all that stuff, but I never knew how to. So actually, I was sitting here playing with it while I was waiting for you. So yeah, I put this guitar together just last night. I actually finally got to plug it in for the first time last night. So
wow,
it's my new toy.
Cool. That's a great use of time. I know that this has been very hard on our musician family. Tours have been canceled or stalled out. Gigs have been canceled or stalled out. A huge financial hit. But I know that most of my friends I've spoken to who are musicians have taken this time, as you have, to get creative, to do some more writing, to do better at something like video production. And it's wonderful to see that when we come out of this, you guys are going to just explode onto the scene. Or at least out of that apartment.
yeah. I probably will spend several days away from this place when it's safe to.
For sure.
But, and I can't wait to get back to the Verde Valley. I miss the Verde Valley, something terrible.
Yes, I know. I missed you. You were here, but it was a brief, and then you were gone because you're just moving, or you were just moving and touring so much. You were really just living the life and being all over the place. I'm thankful for being able to catch you, albeit by video from Austin, but it's wonderful to have one of our favorite Verde Valley musicians. I got you on the show again.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate it. I always appreciate being on your show. I love your show, and I appreciate what you do for musicians very much.
Well, we are very, very fortunate in the Verde Valley to have such great talent.
You do.
I was missing you. So glad we could catch you. The next song that we're going to see and hear is also a very interesting song that you wrote yourself. Can you describe? And that one is titled Copper Queen?
Hail the Copper Queen is the full title. So yeah, actually, I wanted to send you all that one in particular because I haven't really played that out much, but it's a song about Jerome. Actually, it's a song about the famous madam, the Cuban queen. And when I was writing it, it was actually just kind of a mistake. I was actually writing the Copper Queen because I mentioned copper in it a couple times about Jerome being a copper mining town, and then just was kind of like jotting it down and then realized after the fact is like, oh, but her name was the Cuban Queen, but I was like, I don't know, the Copper Queen works. So even though the Copper Queen is a name of a hotel in Bisbee, but not about that. It's about Jerome's Cuban Queen, and I always thought she was just a fascinating character from what I could gather about her, and I actually wrote it on the day after the old bordello was standing in Jerome and it collapsed in a windstorm in like late 2016, I think it was 2016, 2017. I can't remember, but it was just this a big event kind of thing, like, oh man, I've been standing there for 150 years or whatever, and it just came toppling down, and so I felt inspired to write a song about her and about the the mining days of Jerome, and yeah, just kind of encapsulate that in a song, a riff, a guitar line that I've been working on that since high school, and I had never found the right thing to do with it. And it just came to me that night after the bordello collapsed. I was like, oh my gosh, this is what the song is about. Finally, I get to put it to something. So I had to wait a long time for that one.
That's great. It's a great song. I absolutely love it. It's absolutely great to see you. How are you keeping up with social media these days? If we want to see you, if we want to see some of the recordings that you're putting out, the videos that you're reporting, where should we go?
Just my Facebook is a good one, Facebook or Instagram. I've been doing live streams every Friday on Facebook at about 6 p.m. Central Time, because that's where I'm on. But I actually, tomorrow I have to postpone it because I just got hired to do a gig here. There's something that popped up out of nowhere for a drive-in concert series.
Neat.
So people are driving into this big field, and the PA, there is no PA, it's a mixer that's going into an FM transmitter, and people sit in their cars in the field and tune into the radio, and it's a live show through that. And I'm opening for the Shiny Ribs, who is a pretty big name, I guess, around here, but I'm not that familiar with them, so I'm excited to check them out.
That's fantastic, Hank. Congratulations. I hope we hear more and more about these drive-in concerts. That's going to be great. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us. It is so great to see you. I wish you all the best of luck and great health, and cannot wait to see you back in the Verde Valley again.
Thank you. Take care. I really appreciate it.
No problem. And thank you all so very much, as always, for watching the Verde Valley Experience. We greatly appreciate you. Keep coming to verdevalleytv.com, checking out our YouTube page, and just be well. Be well. We'll see you again next
time. Woken from a bad dream, restless and I can't sleep. Burning so pretty, oh God, forgive me. A storm is coming. The man found a money tree. It doesn't grow up steep. It grows way down deep, and the harvest is heavy. A storm is coming. Down around the house obscene. So get down on your knees. Hail the Copper Queen. The dress is white as sharp paint to take away the deep shame. The days are so gray, the nights are okay. The storm is coming. The mother of the unclean bended on a bad knee. Well, let me say one thing. Come and lean closely. A storm is coming. And down around the house I'm seen. So get down on your knees. Hail the Copper Queen.